Hey, how's it going? It's Kyle Klaus, and in this episode, I want to address whether or not it is a good time to buy or sell real estate right now. And I also want to address the question that many of the general public would like to ask, and many real estate agents have a dreaded fear about answering this question, especially when they're first starting out in the business. How's the market right now? So I'm going to address those two issues in this episode.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
I am an actor, entrepreneur. Most notably, I run a business and a brokerage, Prestige Properties, in the northern New Jersey area. I'm also brokered in the city as well, in New York City. I'm also an avid entrepreneur, investor, real estate investor, stock market investor, crypto investor, amongst other businesses. But I have held on to my dream and passion of pursuing acting while alongside being entrepreneurial and owning business. As many of you know, that's what I'm all about: financial independence, financial knowledge, and just investing and doing the right things while also being able to follow your passions and your dreams and basically doing whatever it is you want to do with the rest of your time. As a real estate professional, I've been in the business more than 15 years, and I've been a $5 million producer to a $10 million producer to a $20 million producer to a $30 million producer as an individual agent, as well as having a brokerage with 25 or plus more people under it and under the umbrella, and teaching them and growing that business into a massively successful business. And we just keep growing. So a lot of knowledge in the marketplace. But before we get into it, I just want to take 1 second and ask you to go deposit a like on this video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, so go take a second to do that before we get into it. Also subscribe if you have not done so already and you want to hear more content around, entrepreneurial stuff and lifestyle stuff as well. I put it pretty much all out there. So also, if you want to be a part of it as well, follow me on Instagram, Twitter. I'm on there pretty much daily, so you can be a part of that as well. And check out the links below. Stay till the end of this video. I'm going to give away some cool stuff. Let's get right into it. Okay, so now we are going to address the question, how's the market? So, getting into this, how is the market right now? Well, my answer to this is it's a truly dynamic market, and I truly believe that. And I'll tell you why. So, now, whether or not it's a buyer's or seller's market, let's make the case for a buyer. They may ask the question, well, I've heard that it was a seller's market right now. Is that not the case? I'm going to address that, and there's 3 reasons why it is actually a buyer's market right now, even though sellers may be getting all-time high prices and properties might be going ever so quickly. So the 3 reasons why. 1, mortgage rates are ultimately at an all-time low. Overall, maybe it has been lower at certain times, it's dropped into the 2s, but ever since 1970s, it's been on a steady decline, and at one time it was even up around the 16% range, which is crazy. It's about 4 times the rate of where it is now. So when you're talking about that and taking that into consideration, that is truly a buyer's market. Buyers are able to borrow money at a truly low price right now, and being able to borrow that money for that, it's almost getting to the point where it's a free money borrowing. So you're able to just take money out and borrow a lot of it and be able to mortgage that out and buy houses at a higher price. So that is one reason why it is possibly a buyer's market instead of a seller's market. The second reason of why it is a buyer's market instead of a seller's market, take the case for a year ago. People would say the same thing. The pandemic happened in 2020 of March. In March 2021, people were saying all over the place because properties were going at a very increased rate from a year ago. They were also saying that it's a seller's market because sellers are getting higher prices month after month, and it just keeps jumping up and prices keep raising. So it's a seller's market right now. In actuality, if you would have bought in March of 2021 in locations like the suburbs, a little bit away from the cities, actually in the cities even, if you would have bought at that time and paid maybe over asking, you would still be sitting on equity from a year ago because prices have still raised from 2021. So if you're a buyer in 2022 and now you're looking at it and going, if I would have bought a year ago, it would have been 10% less than it is right now. So in that case, it is truly a buyer's market still if the projected values, which they are expected to raise year over year. Number 3 is that prices are they're not good. It's not higher in a blanket across the US. It's not, you can't just say that, oh, the market is super hot right now. If you would have taken the market is hyper local. You have to look at it hyper local. Yes, across the US, the prices of home values have risen greatly since 2021, since the pandemic. But if you would have hyper local looked at it for a few places in 2020 and 2021, Manhattan, for instance, certain cities have dropped drastically. So it was actually a way more buyer's market in those areas than it was, say, 40 minutes outside of major metropolitan areas where people were buying houses because they didn't need to be in the city for work. So in that case, yes, it is not exactly going up everywhere at the same rate. And making a case for the first point that I brought out, this is a good point to bring out for that. If rates are to rise from 3.5%, which they are now, to the expected rate hike of 5 rate hikes over the course of this year, buyers' purchasing power, if you're a buyer, is going to come down drastically. Meaning that if, say for instance, your budget is about $3,000 a month, and I'm just throwing this out there, not sure about the actual figures, but say your budget's about $3,000 a month and you're in an area that, you can buy a property for about $500,000 and it is a good property and you're paying maybe $5,000 in taxes, which is the average tax price a year around that area. Well, if your mortgage payment in a 3% or 3.5% is around that $3,000 a month, great. You can afford a $500,000 place. But if the rates rise to say 4.5%, which are still historically low, your purchasing power is going to come down drastically. So if you think about it this way, now that $500,000 house, you can't afford it because you're paying $3,500 maybe a month. So you have to look for places that are $450,000 for the same monthly price. And not only that, if you consider that the property values are going to appreciate year over year, then it might be that $400,000 house now that you could easily afford a $500,000 house, but that $400,000 house, because of property appreciation and because of rates rising, that's the property that you are going to have to afford in a year from now. If you're a buyer considering whether to purchase right now or to purchase in the future when prices may drop. But as they say in real estate, don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. Okay, so now let's make the case for why it's a seller's market. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why it's a seller's market. Number 1, the obvious. Inventory is so low that the prices of houses are driving up at a drastic rate. So you can potentially sell your house for much more than you did if you bought it in 2013, 14, 15, 17, 18. Even if you bought it 2 years ago, you can sell it at a much higher rate. Not ever since the first time in 2007, the housing market bubble. Have a lot of these places been underwater since then in certain parts of the United States, such as the suburbs. So now it's a great time to buy or sell, because of that lack of inventory and the housing market just being appreciating in prices. So number two, why is it a seller's market right now? Well, because of the rates being so low, the purchasing power for buyers is at an all-time high. For instance, if these rates, like we talked about, making the case for why it's a buyer's market, if these rates rise, and now a easy buyer that could afford $1 million house and pay up can only afford a $900,000 house if the rates rise 0.5% or 1%. So you're cutting out all of that market and all of those buyers by waiting to sell your house if you're anticipating a rate rise. So that's why there's this dynamic time right now where everybody's trying to get a house. And the buyers are trying to lock in a house and the sellers want to sell their house. Because of the inventory and the rates, those are two main reasons why it's a seller's market, because of the purchasing power. You want the most amount of buyers to be able to afford your place. Number three, because of these rates being so low for the buyers, these rates are so low for you if you are a seller, since you have to go somewhere and you're not looking to cash out and just go to a retirement home or rent or something like that. I wouldn't necessarily recommend playing the market. Some sellers I have, they do sell right now and then go to rent for a year or so if they're going to another location, just to figure out where they're at in that location and where they want to be. But if you're in the same location and you just want to move to a little different area and upgrade your house, now is the time to do it. Because if you're a seller and you're looking to maximize the price of your house while still lock in those low rates and upgrade to maybe find a bigger house for somewhat of the same payment that you were affording in the smaller house, then it's a great time to sell right now. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That is it for today. That is why this is such a dynamic market right now. It is truthfully a buyer's and a seller's market in some respects. If you think of all of the reasons why it is a good time to buy and all of the reasons why it's a good time to sell. So, as always, if you have any comments on this, please leave a comment below. I'd love to address it. If you tell me there's another reason why you don't think I'm right, then I'd love to hear that as well. But this is it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, please don't forget to be a part of it as well on Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget, if you like the content in this video, just to be able to deposit a like, so it helps with the YouTube algorithm and I can keep making these videos like this. And guys, subscribe if you have not done so already, so you will get notifications every time I post a new video. Check out the links below. There's some great links to some stock sites, some crypto sites that I use myself. So check out those as well. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.